Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Our topic today is America about to go to war with China over Taiwan? Now, the other day I introduced to you Leslie's dog, one of her two dogs, Lily. So today I thought I would bring on Ruby. This is Ruby, and she just came back from being at the cleaner up shop where they clean them and trim. She looks all nice. So this is Ruby Sue. She's, Leslie tell you exact date, but I think it's like 9 years old. And she's fully grown, and she's a wonderful dog. And she also is sitting here right beside me. I have a Belgian Malinois. She's in the other room in a cage because if she hears anything, she sits beside me and growls. And of course, I don't want that to be in the program, so I put her in the other room. However, I've got some good photographs of her, and I will show her in some of the upcoming programs. Okay, anyway, let's get on what we're talking about today. So the question is America about to go to war with China over Taiwan? All right, so let's back up, and let me try to explain something here. This comes to us from Dimitri Duduman way back in 1996. And if there's anybody that I believe hears of God that is outside of the King James Bible, that would be Dimitri Duduman, and I think most of you feel the same way. So when it comes to believing something outside the Bible, my opinion, it starts with Dimitri. If it doesn't line up with what Dimitri Duduman was told, then we toss it. Or at least put it on the shelf and watch it. I think that's some of the things must be put on the shelf. And that's the way it is with prophecies. As a matter of fact, let me say something else about prophecies. Just because I put a prophecy on for one person, let's say they've had 20 prophecies, that does not necessarily mean that I'm saying that all 20 prophecies from this one person are all accurate, they're all from God. I don't believe that. I pick and choose. Some of them I put on, some of them I do not put on. I can recall here just recently one of whom that I had put many on, and I was reading one of the new words this person got, and about the fourth line into it, I got a great big yawn. And so I didn't put it on, and a couple of weeks later, I was shown why I shouldn't put that on. So just because I put one thing on doesn't mean I endorse everything from that person. Now, in the case of Dimitri Duduman, I do. Maybe Henry Groover, I do. But Leslie, I do. All the rest of them, yeah. But even Leslie will tell you, in the early days, she missed it too. I mean, that's part of learning. So anyway, let's go on. 1996. Dimitri said, I prayed and went to bed, and I was still awake when suddenly I heard a trumpet sound. A voice cried out and saying, stand. In my vision, I was in America. I walked out of my home and began to look for the one who had spoken to me. As soon as I looked, I saw 3 men dressed alike. 2 of the men carried weapons. One of the armed men came to me and said, I woke you to show you what is to come. He said, come with me. I didn't know where I was being taken, but when I reached a certain place, he said, stop here. Stand there, don't move, and look, he continued. You will see what they are planning and what they're preparing for America. As I was looking, I saw a great light. A dark cloud appeared over it. I saw the president of Russia, a short, chubby man. Now, hang on. That is part of the question. And I wish I had the answer, and frankly, I don't think any beating heart on the earth right now exactly has the answer to this. So, let me read this a couple of different ways. I saw the president of Russia, a short, chubby man, who said he was the president of China. Now, the question is, where's the comma? The way it's written is, I saw the president of Russia. Now, is that a period? And then I saw a short, chubby man who said he was the president of China. Or does it read this way? I saw the president of Russia, a short, chubby man, who said he was president of China. So is the short, chubby man Russian, or is the short, chubby man China? So that is a question. It's not totally settled. Now, let's go on. There's a couple other things. The last 2 also said where they were from, but I didn't understand. However, I gathered they were from the part of the Russian-controlled territory. The men stepped out of the cloud. Now, this particular article says Russia has now appointed General Sergei Surovikin, that called the General Armageddon, to lead his forces in Ukraine. Now, is that the short, chubby man that was Russian? Or is there going to be a short, chubby Chinaman? Because right now, Xi Jinping is not short. He's not chubby. Now, you could say that Putin is kind of short, but he's not chubby. However, if you look at this guy and if you look at the podium, let's go on, and I'll show you my point here. President Putin has appointed this army general as the overall commander of the Russian forces in Ukraine. He was given the nickname General Armageddon by his colleague, citing his hardline and unorthodox approach to military operations. He was awarded the title of Hero of Russia for his role in the military operation in Syria. Now, if you look at this picture, I want to show you carefully. So here's a row of men that are on approximately the same level. But if you look here, it looks like behind this, if you could remove this, it looks like these guys are setting up on a platform. So it's sort of hard to tell. But if you look, his feet are here, and with the podium being there, you might be able to call him a short, chubby man. But see, even that is questionable. It's not clear cut. It's not clear cut exactly what this prophecy is saying. The Russian president began to speak to the Chinese one. I will give you the land with all the people, but you must free Taiwan or the Americans. Do not fear, we will attack them from behind. Now that's the Russian saying that, okay? Russian president began to speak to the Chinese one. Now here's another question. Is that the Russian president saying you must free Taiwan? Probably not. That's probably the Chinese one, as in Xi Jinping is the one that wants Taiwan. It's right off their Chinese coast, and they feel like it should be part of China. A voice said to me, watch where the Russians penetrate America. I saw the words Alaska, Minnesota, Florida. Then the man spoke again. Now, this is the question. This is the third question in this prophecy. Who is speaking here? When the man spoke again, I wish it clearly defined who was speaking. In other words, is this the Russians speaking? Is this the Chinese president speaking? Or is this the angel speaking? Then a man spoke again and said, when Russia goes to war with China, the Russians will strike without warning. Yes, I know. It sounds like that's the angel talking, but hang on. The other two presidents spoke. We, too, will fight for you. Okay. What are the presidents? Are those the Russians? It sounds like it. See, the whole thing is not exactly clear. This is going to be important here in just a second. Stay with me. All of them shook hands and hugged. Then they all signed a contract, and one of them said, we're sure that Korea and Cuba will be on our side, too. Without a doubt, together we can destroy America. The president of Russia began to speak consistently. Why let ourselves be led by the Americans? Why let ourselves be led by the Americans? Why not rule the world ourselves? They have to be kicked out of Europe too. Then I can do as I please with Europe. The man standing beside me asked, this is what you saw. Now, this is where a lot of people get mixed up. They look at that first part and they say, oh no, because they let me back up. This is important. See, it says here, when America goes to war with China, who's saying that? Is that the angel? Or is that the Russian or the Chinese guy? When America goes to war with China, the Russians will strike without warning. But over here, he's about to say, but everything I've shown you is how it will really happen. Okay, so what was he shown? He was shown that the fall of America will start with an internal revolution in America started by the communists. Some of the people will start fighting against the government. The government will be busy with internal problems. Then from the oceans, Russia, Cuba, Nicaragua, Central America, Mexico, and two of the countries, a total of 7 countries, will attack and defeat America in 1 day and 1 hour. Then, here it is. Then God will raise up China and Japan and many of the nations, probably the NATO nations. They'll go against the Russians. They'll defeat the Russians. They'll back the Russians to the gates of Paris where they sign a peace treaty, but they make the Russians their leader. Now, that, he says, but everything I've shown you is how it will really happen. Now, the way I've always understood this is to say that China is not going to attack America. But China is going to be on our side. And if it comes down to whether I believe Dimitri Duduman or anybody else, I'm going to choose Dimitri Duduman. You show me somebody else that went through 5 months of torture. You showed me somebody else that sat on the electric chair twice, had the angel come to them and say, you're not going to die, you're going to America, to give them warning from God, and then come and give the hour, the day, the month, and the hour that they would be exiled to America. No one else has that kind of testimony. So I'm going to stick with Dimitri. The angel that spoke to Dimitri said, but everything I've shown you is how it will really happen. Now let me pause and say something else. A couple of guys that I respect and I like very much, so I'm not going to call their name because I'm not going to attack them, got on. Somebody sent me them talking, and one was being interviewed to the other one and said, all this stuff about internal revolution. Oh, this stuff about a bunch of white hats that are coming to save America and going to kick out the bad guys and put in the good guys. That's all rubbish. That's not going to happen. All of this QAnon stuff, all of this, there's no one being arrested. There's no massive arrests. There's no one being taken down to Cuba. There's none of that's going on. No one's coming to save you. So I got to thinking about that. Okay, is that true? Well, June 14th of 2008, I told you this story. I was out on an 18-city speaking tour, and one of the things I was doing was casting the vision for our vision to find oil in Israel. After I spoke in Amarillo that night, the audible voice of God spoke to me. Believe me, I do not say that unless it happens. You say that, and it didn't happen, and curses fall on you. I heard, quote, Stan, I will give you the money to drill the well in Israel, unquote. I do not know of any other way that I could get the roughly $50 million it would take to drill a well in Israel, other than this thing, which we believe is just about to happen, having to do with the digital currency coming in. Second thing is, Dimitri Duduman is the one that was told there will be an internal revolution. And then I've had numerous prophecies that say that there's going to be a house cleaning, a sweeping of a lot of evil people out of government. And I'd like to think it happens for the first of the year. I'd like to think it happens in 2022 or 2023. It may be 3, 4, 5 years. I don't know when it's coming, but I do know it is coming. That I'm sure of. Now, but everything I've shown you is how it'll really happen. You must tell them what is being planned against America. Then when it comes to pass, the people will remember the words the Lord has spoken. Who are you, I ask? I'm the protector of America. America's sin has reached God. He will allow this destruction, for he can no longer stand such wickedness. God, however, still has people that worship him with a clean heart, as they do his work. He has prepared a heavenly army to save these people. In other words, it's not going to be a pre-trib rapture. Vicky Goforth Parnell, and I believe she is on the list of one of the people that hear from God. Now, do I think everybody out there hears from God? As I said, no, not always. The things that I think are from God, I put on Prophecy Club for the most part. So she says, she was told, open your eyes, daughter, and write. This is 11/17/22. And I think this is one of her most recent ones. Open your eyes, daughter, and write, and I shall show you things to come in this short span of your time. Justin Trudeau and Xi Jinping, do you see how they are no longer, as your world calls it, buddy-buddy? For Xi has become angry at Justin Trudeau's leaking of these hidden secret words to the public. Now Canada will have no other choice than to align with your now broken nation. Do you see it, daughter? Do you see it? Yes, I do, Jesus, my love. This was necessary to establish Canada as your once great nation's ally in the coming war. What do you see now, daughter of mine, with your eyes wide open? I see the face of Xi Jinping of China. He's in a room with many other Chinese men with military uniforms, green, olive green, or something close in color. There's a meeting room, a strategy room. I know it's called. There are military men, high-ranking. I know how somebody, but I see the gray or blue uniforms on some. They're spreading out maps before Xi Jinping. Maps can't be downloaded or leaked. He's using maps to devise his plans. I see the diagrams of tunnels and labyrinths and vast networking of tunnels. Xi is pointing and talking. Now he's listening to the advice of those nearby. I can see that he is considering what is being said as if weighing it thoroughly in his mind. I see more maps being laid out before him on the strategy table. It's maps of electrical grids. Maps of electrical grids. I'm going to say that again. Maps of electrical grids. What have we already seen in the last 2 weeks? We have already seen 2 electrical grids in North Carolina, and what we weren't told is 6 more down in Florida and 2 more up in Oregon and Pennsylvania, or in Oregon and Washington that have been hit. Accident? No, I think it's on purpose. It's maps of electrical grids. Where is this? My eyes are searching, but the language is written in Chinese. I see Xi pick up a red marker and begin circling areas. He points to one of them, and I know is the first place on the map wherever they're planning. I cannot make out the name of the map, for it's no longer in Chinese. I can now make out the name of the map, for it's no longer in Chinese. For this particular name is Taipei. That would be part of Taiwan. The grid maps are moved to the side, and they're now looking at the map of the Asian area, but also with then she stumbles, it's a map of Taiwan. And surrounding the areas, he, or Xi, is now pointing to areas in the water. Now in the land of Taiwan, I know someone. He is finalizing his attack on Taiwan. I now see bombs going off in Taiwan. I see boats, ships, submarines, drones on the shores of this island. Now. I see that I'm in space. I'm behind the sun, and the big gray rock is here. But it's no longer spinning and held in one place. It once again begins moving toward the earth. When, Father, when? I see soldiers as if dressed in... Hold on, I got to back up. I got to explain something to you. Okay, so the attack on Taiwan, she's about to say that this is the start of the fall of America. Now, I think Vicky's hearing from God. I think it's some additional information. But I already have information that there is absolutely no doubt that tells us the signposts leading to the fall of America. So I personally do not think that the Chinese attack on Taiwan is imminent. I could be wrong. God has not told me he hasn't told me when it is. But based upon the timeline that I see, based upon my 40 years of studying prophecy, memorizing Revelation, and the 160 guest speakers we've had, and then all of the dreams and visions that you folks have sent me out there, the picture in my head, the timeline I have in my head, I don't see it happening immediately. I also don't see the meteor hitting America or near America. I don't see that happening immediately either. I see it more like assuming the tribulation has started. If the tribulation has, and I'm not ready to say it has, but if the tribulation has started, I would say we're probably talking about 5, probably 6, and probably even more closer to in the 7th year before this sort of stuff takes place. My understanding. Again, God has not told me. This is my best guess, just trying to give you my best information. That's all I'm trying to do, is give you as much truth as I possibly can give you. I pray and ask God to show me more, but he keeps it close. You know what I mean? All right, let's go on here. I see soldiers as if dressed in colonial-style uniforms with a triangular-style shaped hats, like the pictures of George Washington wore. But some are dressed in red coats while others in blue. Civil war. I hear civil war. Can all this happen? I see bombs. Now, this is important. Missiles flying in an arch. Okay, that's not suitcase nukes. That's Russians attacking America in a major all-out attack. Again, I think that happens about 4 months before the end of the tribulation, the end of the 7 years, when Jesus returns on the last day, just like the Bible says. I see bombs, missiles flying in an arch upon a displayed map of our world, laid out suspended in the air. They are coming from different locations in Russia. They are heading towards us, America. They're coming fast. Just before they begin hitting our soil, I see a bright light, as if a supernova flashed across the sky to the east. Well, that's what Jesus said. The coming of the Son of Man will be as shining lightning shining even from the east unto the west, so also shall the coming of the Son of Man be. So that fits too. Now I see lights being pulled from the earth toward this great light. Now, what she's describing, she's going to call as the rapture. If your definition is the rapture is Jesus coming in the sky and pulling you off of the earth so you don't have to go through any testing, then I do not believe in a rapture. If you think, like I do, like about 4 months before Jesus returns, I've talked about this many times, so I'm not going to go into it, get me off track today. About 4 months before Jesus returns, on the Feast of Pentecost, for those who are ready, they get to go to the marriage supper of the Lamb, where they are given a wedding garment, and they get to watch Jesus brought before the Ancient of Days, where he is given dominion, glory, and a kingdom. His dominion is an everlasting dominion. His kingdom is that which shall not be destroyed. I think this is taking place about 4 months before Jesus returns. So it's not imminent, okay? Now I see the lights being pulled from the earth toward this great light as we go to the marriage supper of the Lamb. That I would agree with. It happened so quickly, then whoosh, in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, okay? In an instant, great light, and all the smaller lights from the earth are gone with it. The missiles and weapons then strike the earth below, and mushroom clouds begin forming everywhere one falls. So you got it? Bombs come down, we go up to the marriage supper of the Lamb. But it's not a rapture. We've already been through about 6.5 really 6 3/4 years of testing. At this point, most Christians are already dead. They've already been tested. Let's go on, though. I'm about running out of time. Daughter, now you see what is to come and befall your world. I cannot lie. I've got you in my hands. Thank you. Thank you, Jesus, my love. The attack on Taiwan, I see all of a sudden a vision of a revolver-type gun, black in color with a cowboy would shoot. I see the trigger is pulled back and released, and I hear, Taiwan is the trigger to this war of the world. Okay, that's fine. That's fine by me. That could be the trigger, but it's not this year. In my opinion, it's not next year. I don't think it's within 2 or 3 years. I think if Taiwan is the trigger, and if, I'm not saying we are, if we are in the tribulation, then we're still talking about over 6 years away before this happens. Now, God's timeline and our timeline are very, very different. Now I see a lighted room. I see a hand on the light switch plate. It is one of those with the wide button instead of the small narrow ones, and the wall behind the switch is beige. The light switch is beige. I see a beautiful hand of power come out from nowhere and takes and swipes the hand over the switch. As everything goes dark, I hear these words, lights out for your nation of America. That great whore Babylon. Now it's gone. Again, I think that's about 4 months before Jesus returns for Armageddon, okay, in my opinion. And I've put that in the charts, explained that. Now, let me tie this together real quickly. You remember I've covered this many times. And right now, the beating heart on the planet that I believe hears from God more than anybody is my wife, Prophet Leslie Johnson. She doesn't prophesy often, but when she does, I bend my ears forward and I listen. I know she's hearing from God. So, April 15th, 2002, she heard the audible voice of God speak, and I'm going to just summarize it. She was told that Arafat would go into the hospital. That happened about 2 years later. She was told Israel will give the Palestinians a state, but it'll be a temporary measure to allow the Israelis time to strengthen their military. Oil will be discovered in Israel. I think the oil is going to give Israel the wealth to build up their military. The oil will make the Jews willing to fight for their land. Then Israel and America will go against most of the rest of the Arab world. That's the first part. Then, January 22 of 06, more important, she heard the audible voice of God speak. This is not the order she heard them. This is the order I believe they will take place, but we don't know exactly the order. She heard Omer ushers in Palestinian state. Catastrophe hits America. One of America's greatest times of need. Israel refuses help to America. Israel is attacked. America sends troops. Chaos reigns as Americans protest help to Israel. Then she heard my voice, quoting Dmitry Duduman, the fall of America will start with an internal revolution in America started by the communists. Now, I believe those more than I believe anybody. None of those include Taiwan. So it may very well be that Taiwan is another type of war. I don't know. I can't exactly fit it together, but I'm going to continue to say I don't think Taiwan is imminent. God hadn't told me any different, but that's my opinion so far.
As we celebrate the season, let Joseph's Kitchen make it memorable with healthy, homemade, whole wheat bread. I'm Leslie, owner and founder of Joseph's Kitchen. Our goal is to help you live a more happy and healthy life.
At Joseph's Kitchen, our ingredients are ready for easy, everyday use, but are also designed for long-term storage.
Whether you're looking to make healthy, homemade, whole wheat bread, or want to make sure your family is prepared, Joseph's Kitchen is prepackaged to take all the guesswork out. We personally test each harvest to make sure you are getting the highest quality ingredients.
At Joseph's Kitchen, we pride ourselves on our quality equipment and all natural ingredients. We are your farm-to-table alternative. Our ingredients are ready for easy, everyday use, but are also designed for long-term storage, making them a wonderful holiday gift for you or a loved one. Go to josephskitchen.com to order today.
We are so excited to offer you our new product. At josephskitchen.com, go check out our new spreadable honeys. You and your family are going to love them. We have pumpkin, pecan, cinnamon, and original. It's great to put in your coffee or your tea on your brand new loaf of homemade, healthy, whole wheat bread. Don't miss out on this holiday offer.
Go to josephskitchen.com or call the number on your screen today.
So Terry Saka of CornerstoneAssetMetals.com, why should people call you today?
Well, the COMEX, which is the exchange which runs the silver and gold price in America, has been found in silver to only have 35 million ounces left. That seems like a lot, but it is not. We are 200 million in the deficit for demand for industry. The time is now to start collecting your own physical supply before it gets a lot more expensive.
So the supply is low, which means the price is going up.
It will have to eventually it'll break this manipulation, no doubt.
CornerstoneAssetMetals.com. Give them a call, start a dialogue, maybe open an account, and then let them help you decide what's best for you and your family. CornerstoneAssetMetals.com. Next is, I'll send you to EMPShield.com. If you use the promo word prophecy, you get a $50 discount. What is that? Well, it looks like this. This is the one that goes into a car, okay? And you put the red wire to the red side of the battery, you put the black wire to the black side of the battery, and the green one attaches to the body of the car. Then you peel it off right back here. Just peel that off, stick it inside of the engine compartment of your car, because if every computer chip is destroyed in your car these days, you couldn't possibly replace them all. Throw the car away. So, EMPShield.com, promo code PROPHECY.